When the comfort food cravings hit, nothing satisfies like mac and cheese. For many women, Spanx have come to be famously known as clothing hacks to flatter your figure. After all, what grown woman hasn't at least tried on shaping shorts, shaping underwear, or super tight tights that vow to suck, smooth, and squeeze all of the classic problem areas? Even the Kardashians are fans of the form-fitting shapewear. Many women see Spanx as an occasional wardrobe addition, meant to amplify assets and diminish visible problem areas under special occasion outfits. For others, however, those stretchy undergarments are a way of life. But if you wear your Spanx on the daily, you may be doing your body more harm than good. Still, while your confidence may soar in Spanx, your insides just might suffer the consequences. As reported by HuffPost, compressing shapewear can actually squeeze your organs and cause some rather undesirable effects, including acid reflux, incontinence, varicose veins, bacterial infections, and even severe nerve damage. Beauty doesn't have to mean pain, especially when said pain comes with significant, long-lasting internal damage. Unfortunately, constantly wearing Spanx is one underwear mistake many women are probably making. Read on to find out what happens to your body when you wear Spanx every day. When you wear Spanx every day, your skin could break out. Your beloved Spanx might suck in your gut and give you a slimmer silhouette, but your pair of Spanx could also give you a nasty breakout. It's soft and creamy, and, when made right, contains a rich flavor that keeps us digging in for bite after bite. These garments touch with skin more than any other fabric you are wearing, Dr. Hamil Wakeham-Fleming explained to Cleveland Clinic. She continued, saying, because it's synthetic, you can develop an irritation. Folliculitis is another frequent infection suffered by Spanx wearers, as bacteria often gets trapped among hair follicles and causes red pus-filled bumps, according to Dr. Marianne Mikhail via HuffPost. Usually folliculitis can be easily treated with topical antibiotics, Dr. Mikhail revealed. She continued, saying, but recurrent infections may develop antibiotic resistance, meaning they get harder and harder to treat. If any of the above happens, it may be time to give your body a break and put away the shapewear for a while, as wearing Spanx every day is one of the surprising things that can cause acne. Unfortunately, we've all had those mediocre experiences with mac and cheese. It seems like a complicated dish to make, so we end up buying a box of the instant stuff or getting it from the freezer aisle. You should also consider upgrading to the next size or trying a different brand of shapewear, Dr. Wakeham-Fleming suggests. According to the doctor, frequent laundering can also help quell potential infection-causing bacteria. Wearing Spanx every day could reduce your circulation. If your Spanx underwear or shapewear shorts leave an undeniable indentation in your skin, they are most definitely too tight. Speaking with HuffPost, chiropractor Dr. These quick and easy alternatives never turn out quite as good as the dish mom used to make. Our one-pot mac and cheese recipe is the solution. Karen Erickson likened wearing these constricting undergarments to putting these giant rubber bands around your upper thighs and tightening them when you sit. However, while this certainly sounds uncomfortable, can wearing too tight shapewear actually be dangerous? According to Dr. It's ready in about 20 minutes, and it uses all natural ingredients that you can feel good about. Erickson, the answer is yes. The best part is that it only dirties up a single pot, so you don't have to worry about washing a boatload of dishes. We don't use any flour to make it, either, so you can easily use your favorite brand of gluten-free pasta. How did we pull it off? Read on to find out. Gather the ingredients for this one-pot mac and cheese recipe. Our one-pot mac and cheese recipe is remarkably simple. All you need is a quart of milk and a few cups of water. As she explained to HuffPost, super-constrictive shapewear can reduce circulation and potentially even cause blood clots, varicose veins, and lymph congestion. This liquid is the base of the cheese sauce, and it will soon become infused with starchy goodness when it's simmered with a pound of pasta. Doctor cooking the pasta in this liquid and skipping the draining and rinsing part also means we don't need to use a roux. Erickson also noted that this can even happen with skinny jeans and pantyhose that are too small. So, if your ankles and calves look swollen and you feel a tingling or burning sensation when wearing your go-to shapewear, strip down and size up when you purchase your next pair of slimming Spanx.
Your swollen limbs will thank you, and so will your blood flow. You could get acid reflux if you wear Spanx every day. Your Spanx may make you love the way you look in slinky dresses and form-fitting ensembles, but all that squeezing and pressing and squishing could cause some less than desirable internal effects. Dr. Ruby Graywood, a gastroenterology fellow at Mount Sinai Hospital in New York City, explained to Self that constricting Spanx and other shapewear items may push on your belly too much, causing you to feel some mild tummy discomfort or even moderate stomach pain. Worse yet, it can lead to or even exacerbate gastroesophageal reflux disease (GERD), acid reflux, and heartburn. Excessively tight shapewear may compress the stomach and prevent its contents from passing properly, and instead it can back up into the esophagus. The combination of flour and butter is the typical way to start a cheese sauce, so our one-pot method saves time and keeps the ingredients list short. From there, we also throw a few seasonings into the mix for flavor, namely kosher salt, ground black pepper, garlic powder, paprika, and Dijon mustard. To add richness and help the cheese melt smoothly into the sauce, we also add an egg yolk. Graywood explained to the publication, painting quite a worrisome picture. So, if you find yourself experiencing severe heartburn symptoms every time you wear your Spanx, you may want to reconsider the undergarment choice. This ingredient is totally optional if you don't have any on hand or you have an egg allergy. Finally, there's cheese: smooth cream cheese, sharp cheddar cheese, melty mozzarella, and flavorful Parmesan. Or, at the very least, consider trying a slightly larger size. If you wear Spanx every day, you could experience bloating and bad gas. Are your Spanx worth having to deal with embarrassing gas-related issues every day? While some people may not be willing to give up their beloved shapewear for a big night out on the town, they might leave their Spanx in the closet when they learn the undergarments could cause a bout of uncontrollable gassiness at their next social affair. As noted by Cleveland Clinic, when your body is constricted in a pair of too tight Spanx, the gas produced with digestion and the air that you naturally swallow while eating has trouble escaping. As Dr. Hamil Wakeham Fleming explained, you're slowing the free motion of the gastrointestinal system and trapping the gas inside. And, if you wear these gas-trapping undergarments every day, your Spanx will undoubtedly wreak lasting havoc on your gastrointestinal system for years to come. After all, when it comes to passing gas, your dad was right, some things are better out than in. If you want to avoid permanent tummy troubles, maybe watch what you eat before you weasel your body into tight shapewear, or perhaps consider writing off Spanx for good. Wearing Spanx every day could lead to urinary tract infections. Getting into your Spanx is akin to having a wrestling match with yourself. Yes, you'll likely end up rolling around on the floor and flailing your legs while fighting with your spandex undergarments. We'll talk about how to make cheese substitutions based on what you have on hand, but it is important to choose a few to create the best flavor. What is the best cheese for a one-pot mac and cheese recipe? At its most basic, mac and cheese is just a combination of pasta, milk, and cheese. Considering that cheese is a third of the equation, it's important to put some thought into which ones you'll choose. And you'll likely also be left feeling sweaty, frustrated, and maybe even determined to avoid the bathroom until you are able to shed your shapewear for good later that evening. Gail Johnson, a midwife at England's Royal College of Midwives, told parents that the inconvenience and annoyance of getting Spanx on and off may very well deter some women from using the facilities as needed. Most varieties will work here, but it's best to use a mixture of melty and hard cheeses. A mac and cheese made with 100% Parmesan just wouldn't turn out quite right, and one made with all cheddar would taste a little bland. Our one-pot mac and cheese recipe starts with 4 ounces of cream cheese. In turn, waiting too long to pee could lead to a urinary tract infection. In other words, women who are already prone to UTIs may not fare well in their pursuit to wear Spanx, unless, of course, they listen when nature calls. According to RevereHealth.com, wearing too tight, constricting shapewear undergarments made out of synthetic fibers could promote the growth of UTI-causing bacteria, as well. You could also use mascarpone if you want to get fancy, but cream cheese has a delightful level of tanginess that adds a subtle flavor to the dish. It also melts smooth and creamy, so the sauce tastes like it was made with heavy cream instead of regular milk. From there, we add 12 ounces of melty cheeses.
We chose sharp cheddar and mozzarella because their flavors pair well together. You don't want to use too much of a super melty cheese like mozzarella, but 2 ounces is perfect for adding structure without creating a stringy texture. As the website notes, cotton workout wear is the safer bet, as the fabric is breathable and discourages yeast growth. You might experience incontinence if you wear Spanx every day. Wearing Spanx every day could cause you to develop a urinary tract infection. However, a painful UTI isn't the only potential side effect that could happen if you choose to forego regular trips to the bathroom whilst wearing your pesky, hard-to-get-out-of Spanx. Other great choices here are Fontina, Pepper Jack, Havarti, and Gruyere. Finally, the last cheese component is the addition of hard cheese. Ironically, your shapewear of choice could also cause you to lose control of your bladder. "You've got all of this pressure on your bladder from the shapewear pressing down," said chiropractor Dr. These cheeses don't melt well, but they contain super concentrated flavors. Karen Erickson to HuffPost. She continued, explaining, if you postpone urinating, it can cause stress incontinence, where you leak, or it can exaggerate stress incontinence with people who already have it. Dr. Erickson encourages women to be mindful when wearing Spanx, and says to carefully pick and choose the occasions for which they decide to use the restrictive shapewear. For example, you might want to skip it for day-to-day use at the office or while running errands. A quarter cup of finely grated Parmesan, Romano, Grana Padano, or Manchego works well here. Which pasta shape should you use for this one-pot mac and cheese recipe? Classic mac and cheese is made with elbow macaroni. However, if you're going to a wedding or an otherwise fancy event, Spanx might be able to give you the confidence boost you need. Just be sure to listen to your body and use the facilities when needed. You could suffer from varicose veins if you wear Spanx every day. Wearing constricting Spanx every day could lead to serious circulation problems, as well as unsightly varicose veins. Growing up, that's the only shape we can remember our mothers using, and it's still a great choice today. As Healthline notes, varicose veins are enlarged veins caused by valve failure. The gnarly-looking veins typically appear on the back side of the leg, and are unable to transport blood as well as other veins. More problematic, however, is the potential occurrence of blood clots caused by varicose veins. Of course, this danger is especially worrisome for those who are prone to circulatory issues. The grocery store's pasta options have expanded quite a bit over the last few decades, so you don't have to stick with elbows if you want to get fancy. Most short pasta works here. Short pasta generally refers to pasta that's small enough to be scooped up with a spoon. A blood clot occurs when blood pools in a spot far from your heart, and the veins have a hard time pumping blood back to it, per the Center for Vein Restoration. And as Mayo Clinic devastatingly points out, a blood clot can lead to a life-altering, or even fatal, stroke. If you have a history of vein issues or notice that your ankles looks very swollen, you might want to stop wearing the shaping underwear for a while. And, of course, consider checking in with your doctor. You may experience shortness of breath if you wear Spanx every day. Wearing Spanx every day might leave you feeling surprisingly out of breath. While you might choose to wear Spanx under your fanciest cocktail dress, hoping to take your crush's breath away, those too tight, stretchy shorts may actually be inhibiting your ability to breathe. That could be those classic elbows, shells, cavatappi, or orecchiette. Control underwear is the 21st century version of the corset, with all the same health risks, Richard Bricknell, director at the Bristol Physiotherapy Clinic, told Daily Mail. Bricknell elaborated that control undergarments do not allow the diaphragm to fully descend, which could subsequently cause the wearer to hyperventilate or even have a panic attack. In milder instances, however, the shallow breathing from the chest compression can cause a Spanx fan to simply feel a bit lightheaded, via Boston.com. In a humorous personal essay published in the Chicago Tribune, columnist Nikki Fritz described her experience wearing uncomfortably tight Spanx to a friend's wedding, writing, "I almost passed out during the ceremony, and a lovely woman had to fan me and remind to breathe, a feat my Spanx would not fully allow me to do. Personally, we'd choose breathing easily over looking slimmer any day of the week. You may get ingrown hairs if you wear Spanx every day. Your Spanx may make you feel more confident for a few hours every day. We recommend against using super small pasta shapes like ditalini or orzo because they don't have ridges.
These ridges cling onto the sauce, helping it stick more efficiently, and delivering more to your mouth with each spoonful. However, wearing these undergarments could make you feel quite uncomfortable long after you've taken them off. We used medium shells for our one-pot mac and cheese recipe because we love how the cheese sauce finds its way inside the shells, loading up for super cheesy bites. Of course, you can always select gluten-free brands to make a gluten-free version of this one-pot mac and cheese recipe. And considering there are plenty struggles of getting ready to deal with, it's safe to say no one wants to be met with struggles after getting undressed. As Dr. Ava Shambin explained to Women's Health, Spanx and other uncomfortably tight clothing articles create friction and put pressure on your hair follicles, potentially forcing hairs to curl down into the skin instead of growing normally. In other words, wearing Spanx every day could cause you to develop pesky ingrown hairs. As WebMD notes, ingrown hairs are uncomfortable, itchy, and painful hairs that grow into or under your skin, sometimes as a result of cutting, shaving, or waxing your body hair. One way to try to avoid these spiky little hairs from cramping your style is by avoiding too tight clothing and shapewear, such as your go-to pair of Spanx. You may have to experiment with the amount of liquid used to get it just right. Instead, opt for breathable, cotton workout wear. Your posture could suffer if you wear Spanx every day. If you're a Spanx superfan who regularly wears the form-fitting undergarments, you might notice that you seem to stand and sit a little taller while wearing your go-to shapewear. However, experts warn that Spanx should not be used as a substitute for good posture. Shapewear is not a substitute for having strong muscles, chiropractor Dr. Karen Erickson told HuffPost. She elaborated that these garments should not be used as a crutch, explaining to HuffPost that strengthening your abdominal muscles will help you attain better posture and strengthen your back and body. Sure, there are plenty of reasons to fix your posture, but wearing Spanx is not the same as wearing a back brace specifically designed to support your back and core. Shapewear's a little different in that it's not therapeutically designed, it's cosmetically designed. Dr. Gluten-free pasta is made from a variety of different grains and legumes, so it may not release as many starches. Cook the pasta to start this one-pot mac and cheese recipe. When you're ready to get started on your one-pot mac and cheese recipe, grab a large, wide sauté pan with tall sides. A sauté pan is different from a frying pan, its sides go straight up instead of flaring out. If you don't have one, or you're not sure if you do, go ahead and use a Dutch oven or large saucepan instead. Add the milk, water, salt, garlic powder, ground paprika, and uncooked pasta to the pan and heat it over medium-high heat. Wait, you might be thinking, don't I have to cook pasta in boiling water? It's true that most recipes and the instructions on the box call for starting pasta in already boiling water, but it's not actually necessary. Erickson explained. While one study out of Iowa State University found that women who wore modified bodysuits saw significant postural improvements, it's important to not become too reliant on shapewear as a postural tool. Your muscles still need to do their job and pull their weight, literally. Wearing Spanx every day could make pregnancy even more uncomfortable. Wearing Spanx every day during pregnancy might make a mother-to-be feel more comfortable and confident in her changing body. Serious Eats explains that the water temperature doesn't make a difference to the texture of the finished pasta. However, according to Dr. starting the pasta in cold water is more energy efficient, too, so it's win-win. When the mixture reaches a boil, reduce the heat so it's barely simmering. Too much heat and the milk can boil over, and we need all that liquid to make our sauce. Sherry A. After 8 to 10 minutes, the pasta should be al dente. Why do we add an egg yolk to our one-pot mac and cheese recipe? We learned an incredible secret when developing a copycat Chick-fil-A mac and cheese recipe, using an egg yolk to make the best cheese sauce. Ross, author of Sheology, the definitive guide to women's intimate health. Donning shapewear that is far too form-fitting and constricting should be avoided by pregnant women at all costs. Shapewear worn during pregnancy that fits too tight or puts unwanted pressure on different areas of the body is never a good idea, Ross revealed to Refinery29. She continued, explaining, besides creating a lot of discomfort, it can also cause pain in different parts of the body, reduced blood circulation, heartburn, and yeast infections. That said, the doctor explained to the website that specially designed maternity shapewear is intended to support a woman's body during pregnancy, unlike regular shapewear. It might seem like an odd ingredient, and it's optional. But this small ingredient goes a long way to creating the right texture and flavor for the perfect cheese sauce. You see, as cheese releases oil as it melts. Still, Ross stressed the importance of ensuring your maternity shapewear fits your body and burgeoning belly comfortably and correctly, telling Refinery29, no pregnancy or postpartum shapewear clothing should overly compress and squeeze internal organs including ribs, abdominal muscles, liver, spleen and intestines. You could experience nerve pain from wearing your Spanx every day. Wearing Spanx every day is, simply put, not a great idea. In addition to causing gastrointestinal problems and painful skin irritation, donning the too tight shapewear every day could actually cause nerve damage. Who would have thought? As doctor without a starch to latch onto, this oil can become very slick and can cause the sauce to break. It doesn't ruin the flavor, but it looks unappetizing. That's why most recipes use a little bit of flour, but we don't need it because we're cooking our pasta in the sauce. Orly Avitzer revealed in Consumer Reports on Health via NPR, super tight garments like Spanx can squeeze the lateral femoral cutaneous nerve, located below the hip bone. The starches leach out of the pasta as they cook, infusing the cooking water with everything it needs. This condition, known for causing pain and numbness in one's thigh, is called meralgia paresthetica, though it's sometimes referred to by its less intimidating nickname, bikini brief syndrome. Symptoms of meralgia paresthetica can last for months, according to Cosmopolitan. The egg yolk is a bit of an insurance policy. It works as an emulsifier, connecting oil and water molecules. That thickens the sauce and helps it bind to the cheese, just in case there weren't enough starches present. After the pasta is cooked for this one-pot mac and cheese recipe, place the egg yolk and Dijon mustard in a small bowl. Add 1/4 cup of the hot cooking liquid to the yolk, whisking as you add to keep the yolk from scrambling. Add a second 1/4 cup of liquid and whisk to combine before adding the egg milk mixture back to the pot. Gradually add the cheese to finish this one-pot mac and cheese recipe. We're almost to the finish line on this one-pot mac and cheese recipe. And, in more severe cases, treatment may call for medications to help with the discomfort, or perhaps even surgery via Mayo Clinic. Hopefully, while the pasta was cooking, you grated all your cheese so it's ready to go. So, the next time you find yourself trying to wiggle into your Spanx, ask yourself if looking slimmer for a few hours is really worth weeks and weeks of potential pain, tingly limbs, and concerning numbness. You could worsen irritable bowel syndrome symptoms by wearing Spanx every day. Spanx may seem like an easy solution for getting rid of unwanted rolls or cellulite for a few hours, but the super tight undergarments could worsen a condition that unfortunately does not have such a simple fix: IBS. If you regularly experience pain, cramping, and constipation, followed by spurts of diarrhea, you might be suffering from IBS, or irritable bowel syndrome, via Healthline. If you haven't done so yet, do it now. You can keep the pasta on a very low flame to keep it warm. We definitely recommend using freshly grated cheese because it melts better. It also doesn't have any strange additives you may find in store-bought shredded cheese, like cellulose aka wood pulp. Remove the pot from the heat and stir in cream cheese. Continue stirring until the cream cheese is melted and the sauce begins to thicken. Working quickly to keep the milk from cooling down, add the grated cheeses one handful at a time. Stir constantly until the cheese is fully melted before adding the next handful of cheese. When you're finished, assess the consistency of the sauce. One thing that is important to realize to help mitigate the inconvenient onset of symptoms is that IBS is often brought on by certain identifiable triggers, such as specific foods or acute anxiety. However, one less obvious catalyst for IBS episodes could be your Spanx shapewear. According to information on the Incontinence Institute's website, anyone who finds themselves frequenting the bathroom should forego these squeeze-happy garments altogether. If it's too thick, add water or milk 1 tablespoon at a time until the sauce loosens up. Taste the mac and cheese and season it with kosher salt and ground black pepper, to taste. How to turn this one-pot mac and cheese recipe into baked mac and cheese. That's it, we're done with our one-pot mac and cheese recipe. As gastroenterologists drive,
it only took about 20 minutes to pull off from start to finish, so you may not be quite ready to serve dinner yet. You can keep the mac warm on the stovetop, or you can cool it down in the refrigerator and reheat it later. Coomerly revealed on the medical center's website, increasing intra-abdominal pressure can certainly provoke episodes of bowel incontinence. As much as you might want to wear Spanx under your skirt suit to that next big job interview, if you have IBS, compressing your nerves may end up creating a potentially explosive situation. If baked mac and cheese is your thing, you can also take things to the next level. If your sauté pan isn't oven safe, transfer the mac and cheese to a casserole dish. If the sauce looks very thick, go ahead and add extra water until it's thin and runny. Cover the dish with aluminum foil and bake at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 30 minutes. Then, uncover the dish and sprinkle the top with breadcrumbs. Add a few pats of butter to the top and bake, uncovered, for another 15 minutes until the top is golden brown. How did our one-pot mac and cheese recipe turn out? We served this one-pot mac and cheese to some pretty discriminating eaters, and everyone loved the way it turned out. It was cheesy, creamy, and super rich. The spices were present but not overpowering, and the Dijon mustard combined with the cream cheese to create the perfect level of tanginess. We kept digging in for bite after bite, and the entire bowl was gone before we knew it. This recipe makes about 8 servings, depending on the appetites of your eaters. Each serving contains 2 ounces of uncooked pasta, or about a cup of cooked pasta. If you end up with leftovers, store them in an airtight container in the fridge for 3 to 5 days. Technically, they can be frozen, but we don't recommend it. The pasta will have a mushy texture after it's thawed, so it just won't be the same. Reheat the leftovers on the stovetop or in the microwave, adding a little water or milk to make the sauce creamy again. 1 pot mac and cheese recipe directions. Prep time: 5 minutes. Cook time: 15 minutes. Serves: 8 servings. Ingredients: 4 cups milk, 2 cups water, 1 teaspoon kosher salt, 1/2 teaspoon garlic powder, 1/8 teaspoon ground paprika, 1 pound uncooked short pasta, like shells, elbows, or cavatappi, 1 egg yolk, optional, 1 teaspoon Dijon mustard, 4 ounces cream cheese, cut into 1/2 inch chunks, 10 ounces freshly grated sharp cheddar, 2 ounces freshly grated mozzarella cheese, 1/4 cup freshly grated Parmesan cheese, freshly ground black pepper. To taste. Directions: start with a large, wide sauté pan with tall sides. You can also use a large saucepan or a Dutch oven. Heat the milk, water, salt, garlic powder, ground paprika, and uncooked pasta over medium-high heat. When the mixture reaches a boil, reduce the heat to maintain a simmer. Cook the pasta for the time detailed on the package directions, usually 8 to 10 minutes, until it's al dente. Do not drain the cooking liquid. When the pasta is cooked, place the egg yolk and Dijon mustard in a small bowl. Add 1/4 cup of the hot cooking liquid to the egg yolk, whisking as you add to keep the yolk from scrambling. Add a second 1/4 cup of hot liquid, whisking until it's incorporated, before adding the warm egg milk mixture back to the pot. Remove the pot from the heat. Working quickly to keep the milk from cooling down too much, stir the cream cheese into the pot. When it's fully incorporated, add the grated cheese 1 handful at a time. Stir constantly until the cheese is melted before adding the next handful of cheese. If the sauce is too thick, add water or milk 1 tablespoon at a time until it reaches the desired consistency. Taste the mac and cheese and season it with salt and black pepper to taste.